I can't believe what's happening in Ashbourne right now. While everyone was distracted with the big signings, there are players quietly taking control. We've got Bobby Vagner in the conversation for a historic individual award. And get ready, because what Jaden Daniels just said about Jaden Samuel is going to drive you crazy. If you thought the off-season was over, you're totally wrong. Do you think Peters is done surprising us? I tell you this, what's coming is going to define whether we are real contenders or if we're still the same team as always. After decades of disappointments, broken promises, seasons that started with hope and ended in frustration, we finally have something different. Look, after years of watching this team make noise with big signings and then disappointing when it mattered, now we have something different. There are 5 players dominating this offseason without anyone noticing, and I think these are the ones who will really decide if we reach the Super Bowl or not. Chris Moore, the veteran nitrogen monoxide 1, sees CO Mange yell start with Chris Moore at wide receiver. Do you remember when Terry McLaurin, Noah Brown, and Michael Gallup were unavailable during the off-season program? Well, it turns out Moore took advantage of that opportunity like his life depended on it. I tell you this veteran who arrived late last season as an emergency option is now running routes like an established starter. But you know what's most impressive about Moore? It's not just that he has reliable hands. That's basic. What excites me is that this man understands the timing with Jaden Daniels. When he arrived last year, he was literally an emergency option. Now he's showing the kind of chemistry that takes years to develop. Think about it. Moore is a former 4th round pick from Cincinnati who never got a real chance to shine in his previous stops. But here in Washington, under Dan Quinn's system, he's proving he can be much more than just an extra body. His cuts are precise, his hands are dependable, and most importantly, he's available when it matters. And you know why this is great? Because while the Cowboys are relying on expensive veterans past their prime, and the Giants are still looking for receivers who can stay healthy, we have real depth. Moore is not just showing reliable hands. He's demonstrating a complete understanding of Cliff Kingsbury's system, with McLaurin, Brown, Jaden Samuel, Luke McCaffrey, and rookie Jalen Lane already secured. Who takes that last spot if we carry 6 receivers? I think Moore is in pole position right now, and that tells me something important about this roster's depth. Tyler Biadasz, the offensive line Junior Elba here, comes Tyler Biadasz at center. And let me tell you, this man is the glue of our offensive line. With Laramie Tunsil and Josh Connolly as the new tackles and Sam Cosmi injured with a torn ACL, who do you think is organizing this chaos? Biadasz. His communication skills during the offseason have been exceptional. I tell you this, an offensive line isn't just 5 big guys pushing people around. It's a complex system requiring perfect communication. And Biadasz is the brain coordinating it all. Do you remember when he started last season strong and then got injured? His absence was immediately felt. Protections crumbled. Communication was lost. And Jaden started taking hits he shouldn't have been taking. Now Biadasz is fully healthy and more dominant than ever. Look, I've seen many offensive lines in this franchise over the years, and I can tell you that we've never had a center with Biadasz's leadership skills. It's not just about snapping and blocking. He can read defenses and adjust protections in real time. While the Eagles are still figuring out their offensive line after losing key pieces, and the Giants remain a complete mess up front, we have stability at center. And you know what's most important. Biadasz is the only offensive lineman guaranteed in the same position. That's Burgundy and Gold, baby. Jonathan Jones, the underrated champion VTA, if that surprises you, wait to hear. This about Jonathan Jones at cornerback. This man won 2 Super Bowls with the Patriots, spent 9 years in an organization that knows how to win. But you know what? No one is talking about him because everyone is focused on Marshon Lattimore and Mike St. Ristel. I think Jones is going. To be our secondary's biggest surprise, think about it. 9 years with the Patriots, 2 rings, and he signed a 1-year contract with us. Why would a veteran with that resume sign a 1-year deal? Because he wants another ring, and he sees. We have the opportunity to give it to him. Do you think he came here to play golf? You're crazy. Jones knows this might be his last chance to shine with a contender. And from what I've seen in the offseason, this man is ready to silence doubters. Jones' playoff experience is invaluable, while other cornerbacks in our division have never played in January. This man has played in Super Bowls. He has faced the best receivers in the world in the most critical moments. That experience can't be bought in free agency. And you know what I love about Jones? That he never got the recognition he deserved in New England. He was always the other quarterback, but stats don't lie. Consistent, dependable, and now he's at a place where he can finally receive the recognition he deserves. Frankie Luvu, the heart of the linebacker corps now. Let's talk about Frankie Luvu, and this is where I get really excited. This man came from Carolina, and under the guidance of Dan Quinn and Joe Witt Jr., became one of the league's most dominant linebackers. I tell you this, Luvu is not just a player, he's the heart of our defense. Did you see how he played last year? Explosive, fierce, but most importantly, smart. Luvu understands the game at a level few linebackers can match. And working alongside Bobby Vagner, he's learning aspects of the game that will take him to a whole new level. What impresses me most about Luvu is his quiet leadership. He's not the type to shout and show off. He leads by example. Arriving first, leaving last, and on the field making plays others can't. And you know why Luvu is so special? Because he came as an undrafted free agent and has had to earn every opportunity. That nobody gave me anything mentality is exactly what we need in a defensive leader. While other teams rely on high draft picks with expectations, we have a man who knows what it means to fight for every snap. Johnny Newton, the project that's D'Oliveira, and finally, Johnny Newton on the defensive line. Do you remember last year's drama? A second-round draft pick came in with injuries, high expectations, and inconsistent development. But I tell you this, Newton is starting to show exactly why Peters picked him where he did. Dan Quinn specifically praised him for his development this offseason. The injuries that ruined his initial transition are completely in the past. And Newton is beginning to look like the player we all expected. Do you know what the most important factor in Newton's development is? Confidence. Last year he played tentatively, worried about injuries, trying to find his place. Now he's playing with the aggression we need on the defensive line. With Jonathan Allen no longer on the team, Newton has to step up. And from what I'm seeing, he's ready for that challenge. His game strength has improved dramatically, and his explosiveness as a pass rusher is reaching where it needs to be. What do you think about these quiet moves that could define our season? But that's nothing compared to what's coming now. Did you know Bobby Vagner, our 35-year-old linebacker, is being seriously mentioned for Defensive Player of the Year? Can't be? Look, after years of watching Dallas brag about Micah Parsons and Philadelphia talking about their historic defenses, it turns out we have the league's most consistent linebacker. Vagner has 11 consecutive All-Pro seasons. Do you understand what that means? 11 straight years? But here's what really drives me crazy. Vagner turns 35 this week, enters his 14th NFL season, and is still playing at the highest level. Do you know many linebackers who at 35 are still in the running for individual awards? I tell you this is historic. Think of the great linebackers in history. Ray Lewis, Brian Urlacher, Patrick Willis. They all had incredible careers, but when they hit 35, they were either retired or clearly in decline. Vagner is challenging everything we thought we knew about linebacker longevity. And you know why Vagner can keep playing at this level. Because his game never relied solely on speed or physical strength. His football intelligence, his ability to read plays, his positioning, These are skills that improve with experience. I tell you this, while Jerry Jones is spending millions on players who don't produce in the playoffs, we have a future haul. A famer in his first real chance to win DPOY. And do you know why he never won it before? Because he was always on teams that didn't go as far as needed. Look at the competition in our division. Parsons in Dallas is explosive, but inconsistent when it matters most. The Eagles have defensive talent, but lack Vagner's leadership. The Giants, well, what defense do the Giants really have? But here's Vagner, in his second season with us, having already established a defensive culture we haven't seen in decades. His partnership with Frankie Louvu is the reason why our defense went from being a joke to being respected. Do you remember our defense 2 years ago? We were the laughingstock of the league. Now with Vagner as the operational brain, we have a defense that opponents have to respect. And that's no coincidence. It's the direct result of Vagner's leadership. Vagner doesn't just make tackles and cover receivers. He reads the game before it happens. He's shouting adjustments, moving players, anticipating what the offense is going to do. It's like having an additional defensive coordinator on the field. And you know what's craziest? At 35, Vagner is playing like he's 25. His numbers last year were spectacular, but more important than the stats is the impact he had on the entire defense's mentality. Now, can Vagner really win DPOY? I think so, and here's why. Voters love narratives. A 35-year-old linebacker, in his second season with a team that reached the NFC Championship, leading a defense that was key to that success, that is a narrative that sells. But beyond the narrative, Vagner has the credentials. If he maintains his level of play from last season, and if our defense continues to improve, there's no reason why he can't be in the real conversation for DPOY. Do you think Vagner can really win? Boy, at 35. Or is it too late for that kind of individual recognition? And just when you thought we were done, we get to the most important part of all. Jaden Daniels couldn't contain his excitement when asked about having Deebo Samuel as a teammate. And I tell you this, what he said convinced me that this year, we're heading straight to the Super Bowl. Listen to Jaden's exact words. I'm excited to throw him a screen, and hopefully it says 80-yard touchdown in the stats, and I didn't have to do any of the work. Do you hear that confidence? That's a winning quarterback. But here's what really excites me. It's not just that Jaden is excited, it's how he's excited. He's specifically talking about plays that maximize Samuel's strengths. That tells me he's already thinking on the field like a veteran. After years of watching this team rely solely on Terry McLaurin as a trustworthy receiving option, now Jaden has Deebo Samuel, a man who knows how to turn short plays into explosive touchdowns. The offense opens up completely, and Dan Quinn will have options he never dreamed of. And you know what's craziest about all of this? Deebo is coming off 3 consecutive seasons with less than 1,000 yards due to injuries, but his talent has never been questioned. He's in a new environment with a young quarterback eager to build chemistry and with an offensive system that can maximize his unique skills. But what did Samuel say about Jaden at minicamp? I feel like the guy's been here forever. He's comfortable, knows what's going on, knows where the ball should go. I think he's really smart. That's mutual respect. I think that chemistry is already there. When a veteran like Samuel, who has played with quarterbacks like Jimmy Garoppolo and Brock Purdy, says Jaden seems like a veteran, it means something. It's not just courtesy. It's genuine recognition of Jaden's leadership skills. Do you understand how significant this is? Samuel doesn't need to stroke anyone's ego. He's here on a contract that takes him to free agency next year. If Jaden wasn't truly special, Samuel wouldn't be making these public comments. While Dak Prescott in Dallas continues to rely on CeeDee Lamb as the only truly reliable option, and Jalen Hurts in Philadelphia lost much of his chemistry with A.J. Brown after last year's dramas, we have Jaden building chemistry with McLaurin and Samuel simultaneously. That's Burgundy and Gold, baby. Think about the difference. Prescott has been in Dallas for years and still can't win the big games. Hurts won many regular games, but collapsed when it mattered most in playoffs. Jaden, in his second year, is already showing the kind of leadership and vision that takes years to develop. But here's the technical detail that has me super excited. Jaden in his second year will face more film study from rival defenses, right? All defensive coordinators spent the offseason studying his tendencies, but now he has Samuel to run more offensive options. It's like Adam Peters predicted exactly what Jaden was going to need. And you know what's most important about all of this? This is our window. Samuel enters free agency next year, along with 37 other players on our roster, including 20 key starters. This season is literally our golden opportunity for the Super Bowl with this group. Peters built this roster knowing we had a specific window. Daniel's in his rookie contract, Samuel in his contract year, Vagner still at elite level. All the elements are aligned, and OW next year will be completely different in terms of salary, cap, and roster continuity. But do you understand the pressure Jaden is facing this year? He's no longer the surprise rookie. Now everyone expects him to produce. Defenses have studied his film. Coordinators have specific game plans to stop him. And on top of everything, fan expectations are through the roof. But here's the difference. Jaden isn't facing this pressure alone. He has Samuel, he has McLaurin, he has an improved offensive line, and he has a system designed to maximize his strengths. I think he's going to be better this year than last. Now I ask you, do you believe the Daniel-Samuel chemistry will be better than the Hurts-Brown combination in Philadelphia or the Prescott-Lamb duo in Dallas? Do you see what's happening here? We have players quietly dominating while no one pays attention. A 35-year-old linebacker seriously mentioned for DPOY, and our franchise quarterback completely excited and confident with his new offensive weapon. I tell you this, after decades suffering with this team, after seasons that began with hope and ended in disappointment, we finally have an organization that understands how to build a champion. From Peters making smart, calculated decisions, to Quinn creating the right culture, to Jaden showing leadership and maturity like a 10-year veteran in his second year. This is not the same franchise that disappointed us so many times. This is an organization that understands that windows of opportunity are limited, that the salary cap is real, and that every opportunity must be maximized when it presents itself. Look, this community we've built here is a family of fans who understand what it means to be Burgundy and Gold through thick and thin. We've suffered together, we've celebrated together, and now we're witnessing together how this franchise is finally doing things right. If you want to stay up to date with every move, every deep analysis, every explosive news, and every development of our Commanders, you need to be part of this family right now, because what's coming is going to be historic. Hit like. If you think these quiet moves are more important than the big signings, subscribe if you believe Vagner can really win DPOY at 35, and comment on which combination you think will be more lethal, Daniel Samuel or Daniels McLaurin. Do you think this chemistry between Jaden and Debo, combined with Wagner's leadership and the depth of these quiet players, will be enough to take us to the Super Bowl? Or do you think we still need more pieces to compete against Philadelphia, Dallas, and the rest of the NFC? Let me know in the comments what you think about these three explosive stories, because tomorrow we'll have more in-depth analysis, more news that will change everything, and more content you can't miss.